In this video, we're going to make these industrial light sculptures. I was walking by a furniture shop in downtown Seattle, and I noticed these through the window, so I went back to my desk and typed in industrial light sculpture on Google. And the results that came back were pretty impressive. And I found this one site that actually has a bunch of different types of bulbs. And I looked at the price, and they were anywhere from about $50 to $125. And I totally support buying them, but I thought that I could make it my own. So I went to Woodcraft, a local wood supplier here in Seattle, and found this burled walnut. It's rough cut, so it's a little bit oversized. This is about 4 inches, where I needed to be 3.5 inches by 3.5 inches. So I took it to my dad's shop, and that's him using the joiner planer to get a nice smooth edge. And then he took it to the table saw to cut them down to size. Then he took it to the sander and basically sanded off the rough edges. And then I took it over and used a hand sander just to kind of break the sharp edges a little bit. Then it was time to put coating on it. I really love this Dailies Pro Fin Satin. It's a type of finish that it's an oil finish, and it penetrates and it gets really hard, and you can apply it with a rag. But you just want to make sure that you put thin coats, and we're probably going to do about 3 or 4 different coats, and you can see how it goes on, and you just use a rag to wipe it on, and then you want to wipe it off. For the second coat, I always use about a 600 wet dry sandpaper, and you just lightly break off any dust or shiny finish part of it, because when you use a rag, you're going to get this like shiny coat on it. So you just use the 600 grit sandpaper, and again another coat of this Dailies Pro Fin, and again use a little bit. It goes a long way. And on the third coat, again, you just take the sandpaper, give it a nice little sanding. And again, with the rag, just put a light coating of the finish. Don't worry about any fingerprints, they will buff out. And then at the end of it, you just want to give it a nice, just rub down, make sure that you remove any of the finish, and this will be the final coat. It will harden to a nice hard finish. Alright, so next you have to mark where the center point is so we can drill the hole of, where the bulb is going to go. So I applied masking tape. Then I drew a line across. and then another line, and that will mark the center point. So now that we have our center point, we have to measure the light socket or the light thread. And on these, it's called a mogul fitting, so it's about 1.5 inches in diameter. You might, if you have 1.5 inch drill bit, you should be fine. You might have to just massage a little bit with some sandpaper. So I took it over to my dad's shop again, and we had a 1.5 inch mortise bit. And walnut, just, I love the smell of walnut. It actually smells pretty darn good. So once you drill the hole, you just have to take the masking tape off, clean it up a little bit. And there you go, you've got the base. Now for the next part, what we're going to do is we should be able to, just using pressure fit, get the bulb to fit in there. And this was a used bulb. Actually, I found this one, and it fit in pretty well. You might have to use a little elbow grease, but just be very careful not to put too much force, because you could snap the glass off the base. But once it's in there, it should fit pretty snugly. So to protect your finish or your cabinets, I always like putting these brown felt little feet on. They're just a nice little touch. So the next part, this is optional. You could take a flat razor, and if you want to remove any of the lettering, you can actually do that just by scraping it off. And that kind of just makes it look more like a sculpture, less like a light bulb. And there you have it. You can make your very own industrial light sculpture for less than, this costs less than $30.